Hello ladies, today I'm going to do some gel printing. This is my small gel plate and I've got some green and some yellow acrylic paint to play with. So I'm going to squirt some green. I think we're getting near the bottom. Let that sit there for a minute. That's more like it, isn't it? That's more like it. I think I might have to replace that one. Here's my brayer, and all I'm going to do is mix the two together. Suitably greeny yellow colour. And then with a stick I'm going to play around with the pattern. And then I'm going to put the paper over. And I think that's rather a nice result. Put that over there for a minute. I think I'm going to have a look in this one. It does look rather as if I might need to replace this green one. As you can see, it's a very messy job. But great fun. The good thing about acrylic paints is that they dry very easily. And quickly. It's amazing what you can use here on the plate to make it more interesting. You can use circular objects or really just anything you've got to hand. So I'm going to have a little look see I've got that would be good, wouldn't it? I need some more paper. So while this one is drying, I'm going to do some squishing on here. And so I've got two very acceptable backgrounds. Now I've got to wait for those to dry. Better go and have a wash now. While I'm waiting for the pages to dry, I'm going to do some stamping on these little tags I've made with a punch. I used a punch to make these, and very good that was. I've used the envelope from an Easter card or two, being yellow obviously, and I've got a variety of little stamps here with bees. These are wooden stamps, and a flower, and some more flowers, so I'm going to have some fun with those. And I'm going to start with this little one. just as easy as that. My husband put this little stamp onto a block of wood for me so I could hold it better, because it's so tiny it's difficult to hold. And that was before I bought one of these. I'll show you. This is an acrylic block, so when you have the ordinary stamps, the ones that come in a big sheet without the wood, you just hold them on there and then you can stamp away. But before I had that, I had this. Let's do some flowers now. Let's try one with the bigger bee. Obviously it's not all going to go on there, but I don't think that matters. Just have to make sure I've got plenty of ink on it. That one didn't it? Bring the flowers back. Have a little bit of a bee on that, I think. And lastly, this one. What fun. be washed. I use the stays on one, which does come off with water, so it's not a permanent one. You have to be careful you pick the right one. The archival ink is the one that stays on even when it gets wet. So I've made some holes in these little tags, and then I'm going round with the distress ink. I used my crocodile with the smaller hole, this one, to make the holes. That's a smaller hole, that one, it's got stuffed up. You can make it wider. I had it quite small here because it had to just go in a little way. So those are done, and these I'm doing. I think that looks nicer when it's been edged. Better keep them separate, hadn't I? Otherwise I'll get confused. While I'm doing that, I'll tell you what happened to me a couple of days ago. A couple of days ago I had a parcel delivered, except the delivery man didn't put it through my door. It was a bit too big to go through the door anyway. He put it in the glass bottle bucket for the recycling of somebody else's drive, but he didn't leave a card through my door to tell me that he'd done that. So I just saw in the email that he delivered the package, but I had no idea where he'd put it. He did put a photograph, and there it clearly was, in a glass bottle bucket, but it wasn't my glass bottle bucket. I don't actually use one of those. So I decided to let the company know. I said, my package has been delivered, but not to me. And they came back to me within an hour. This is snagtights.com. They sell tights, and for some reason tights are in very short supply here at the moment in England, and my size, and not only my size but other sizes as well. So I've had an awful job to get tights lately. So this package contains 5 pairs of tights at no small cost, and I was really desperate for them because I was down to 2 pairs, and having to wash them every day, you know, like you do when you're in a hotel, in order to wear them the next day. So I was quite miffed that this parcel had gone somewhere else and nobody had been round to give it to me, so I thought I'd go and look for it. So I went round the streets near my house looking for my tights, looking for a glass bottle box with packet in it, except that on the photograph he sent me, behind the glass bottle box was a louvered door, which is unusual because mostly people have wooden doors with the slats going down, but this one had the slats going across. So I looked and looked and looked. I went round about 4 streets and I was out for a whole hour in the end looking. Well, later on that day, or was it? No, it was the next day, I think. The neighbour did actually come round with the packet, thankfully, but it was a bit late. She didn't notice it straight away. By the time she noticed it, I'd already been round looking for it everywhere, you see. So I was glad to get the tights. That gave me another problem, but I'll come back to that in a minute. Anyway, today somebody had put a post on the neighbourhood watch scheme, not email, what do you call it? It's something that tells you what's going on in the neighbourhood every day. And they put, does anybody know this person? And there was a picture of me, luckily not very clear. Someone had taken a picture of me, or else it was one of those automatic ones that take, you know, from your doorway. And I went trending on this site, apparently. Everyone was saying, oh, poor lady, perhaps she's got dementia and she's got lost. She's wandering around the neighbourhood. Can't find a way home. Somebody else, perhaps she's looking for a missing cat. Well, no, I wasn't. Anyway, oh, someone else said, oh yes, I saw this lady in the shop. She came looking at the cakes. Maybe she's got dementia. You know, perhaps somebody should have asked her if she was all right. All these comments were flowing in. It was most embarrassing. Meanwhile, the company that sold me the tights had said they were very sorry and they would send me some more. But me being me, I decided to tell them that the packet of tights had turned up in the end. I'd wanted to be honest, because that 5 pairs of tights comes to quite a lot of money. And I thought, you know, it wasn't fair for them. It wasn't the company's fault, was it, that they didn't get delivered? I'd already told the delivery company. The company that makes the tights said, they replied to me by email and said I could keep the second pair. They were very pleased that I let them know I'd received the first pair in the end, and they said I could keep the second lot, so I'm delighted with that. And it just goes to show that honesty pays, maybe not all the time, but some of the time. Now I wonder where the delivery driver will post that second packet. I shall be looking out for him. What a story, eh? Now I finished the little tags. All I've got to do is put the strings through, and I shall probably do that with green embroidery thread, hopefully that sort of colour green. I wonder which one is the favourite. Which one do you like best? I think, let's have a look. I think I like that one the best. So, onward and upward. So I found the strings, embroidery thread I used. Wasn't quite the green that I wanted. It's darker, so that'll be another trip to Hobbycraft, won't it? But I did have this dark green, so I've used that. So those are the little tags that I've done with the dark green thread, and these are the ones that I haven't put thread through at the moment, so I'm not sure what I'm going to use those for. So with a few little stamps and a little bit of time and ingenuity, you can make some pretty little tags like this. So this is your second part of the Bee Journal challenge, is to make some little tags. Oh, and some bigger ones if you want, but for the moment I'm just doing the little ones, and they're about 2 inches, that's all, very small. If you haven't got a punch to do it with, you can do it by hand, just however you like, and they don't have to have the fancy tops. You can just cut them off or leave them square. So I enjoyed doing that. I hope you enjoyed watching along with me, and I can't wait to see what you come up with. So until the next time, I'll say bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and if you hit the like button, that helps me to get noticed on YouTube. I think they push the videos out more to people that have got the most likes. So that would be helpful. Thank you. Bye-bye.